Hi, it's Luana from the Cottage of Grace, and it's Saturday, so it's Psalm time, and today I'm reading from two different Psalms that I'm going to kind of put together for what it means for me today. The first one is from Psalms 31, starting with verse 7, ending at verse 10. It says, "I will be glad and rejoice in your mercy and steadfast love, because you have seen my affliction. You have taken note of my life's distresses, and you have not given me into the hand of my enemy. You have set my feet in a broad place. Have mercy and be gracious unto me, O Lord, for I am in trouble. With grief my eye is weakened, also my inner self and my body. For my life is spent with sorrow, and my years with sighing. My strength has failed because of my iniquity, and even my bones have wasted away." In this particular psalm, for me, I underlined it and I dated it about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been 3.5 years now that the migraines for me personally set in at an everyday point in my life. The last couple months, I'm starting to have times where they are actually, I'm getting breaks. I'm getting a few days with less intense pain, sometimes no pain. So when this talked about, my affliction and my life distresses and not giving me over to my enemy, for me, my enemy has been fighting this migraine, and my distresses have been fighting this migraine. I've had a lot of distresses through my childhood growing up. Wasn't an easy childhood, and yet through it all I see blessings. That's why in verse 10 it says, "For my life is spent with sorrow and my years with sighing." There were a lot of years I spent sighing, but now I look back on them and I can see the Lord, my God, interwoven through every single piece of the fabric of my life, even in my childhood, and even over the last 3.5, 4 years with these migraines. So, with that said, I'm going to skip back over to Psalm 30, where it says, "O Lord, my God, I cried to you, and you have healed me." And believe me, I've spent a lot of time crying and crying and crying and praying and praying. And a lot of people have been praying for me as well. And I know I have healing. I've had healing since Jesus died on the cross. It's when Jesus decides to give me complete and utter healing. That's His timing, not mine. But I can rejoice in the days that the migraines are not so as intense as they have been for a very long time, or I can get time spent with my family, or I can even make an actual meal for a change for my family. So for me, that's healing. So that's where that comes from in Psalm 30 verse 2. Okay, to continue. "O Lord, you have brought my life up from Sheol, the place of the dead. You have kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit of the grave. Sing to the Lord, O you saints of His, and give thanks at the remembrance of His holy name. For His anger is but for a moment, but His favor is for a lifetime," or "in His favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." And it's kind of true, because we always find that nighttime is when things tend to weigh heavier on people's mind. For me, that's when, the whole day's gone by and things start going through my head, and I start thinking about things more. And if I'm going to have a crying time, it might be around nighttime, but by morning time I wake up and you have a fresh perspective, because I fully believe that the Lord God works subconsciously in your mind to heal you and to take away your anxieties and to give you just a fresh outlook. Brand new day, brand new thoughts. Okay. "As for me, in my prosperity, I said, I shall never be moved. By your favor, O Lord, you have established me as a strong mountain. You hid your face, and I was troubled. And I cried to you, O Lord, and to the Lord I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit, to the grave? Will the dust praise you? Will it declare your truth and faithfulness to men? Hear, O Lord. Have mercy and be gracious to me. O Lord, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing for me. And the mourning is sadness, not the mourning as in daytime, but this means the sadness that a person feels being turned into the ability to dance, or to just have like a little, little perk to your step or something like that. And it says, you have put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. Now, back in the day, people would render their garments, they'd rip them, and they'd put on sackcloth and ashes over them to show their mourning and their sadness and grief. How many of us, when we get really mournful or sad, and it doesn't always have to be about someone dying, it could just be about something not going right in your life, or anxiety or depression taking over your life, and then you find yourself wearing sweats and a holy t-shirt, and by holy I don't mean by holy Lord, I mean by got like little holes in it, and you realize, I've not showered for a couple days, and anyway, to me that's what the sackcloth is. But God gives you that fresh perspective, and then suddenly the sackcloth has been traded in for gladness and that little perky dancing and fresh new thoughts that I talked about earlier. To the end that my tongue and my heart and everything glorious within me may sing praise to you and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give you thanks forever. And I've always made it a point to say that anything that goes on in my life that has been bad, or anything that's gone on for a long time that's been really good, I've always said, God, if you, but mostly for the times that have been rough or bad, I've always said, if you, God, get me through this, when it is at its end stage, and you always know when it is, you always know when God's brought you through the other side, when you've come out the valley and you're come up the mountain, and you're on that mountain, and you're overlooking the entire surrounding of your corner of the world, and you know it. And I've always said, God, get me to that mountaintop, and I will make it a point to stand before the congregation to give you thanks for whatever it was. And many times I have done that. And it's always just my promise to the Lord. If He can promise me so much, if I can make one little promise of being able to stand up before the Lord and give Him thanks, then I do it. And it feels great to do it, because you bless people. You bless others by doing that, because you don't realize how many people are going through the exact same thing that you might be going through, or something similar, or they can even glean just a tiny bit from what's going on with you, and they can apply it to their life. And then they hear you giving your testimony about it, then not only have you given blessings back to the Lord, but you've blessed other people. And the word testimony, this is something I've always been taught, is it's a test. Or you can just be moany about it. But if you can have a testimony, then you can get through your test and moan, but then you can go up and tell the world about what's gone on, and it becomes a testimony. I don't know, just a cute little whatever. But so that's our psalm for today, about God seeing your afflictions, your distresses, God knowing that into the very depths of your body, your soul, your bones are weary, how many of you have ever just been so just down and just so tired physically and mentally, emotionally and spiritually, and you cry out to the Lord and He hears it and He starts bringing you up out of it? And like I said, the morning comes and you're able to dance before the Lord or give Him praise or however it is that you do it. And sometimes I'm glad that my family isn't home during the day because, you know, I will dance. I will do my little whatever for God, or, you know, even in the car. But I keep my hands on the steering wheel, I promise. So anyway, for Saturday, this is our psalm. And I hope you enjoy it. Give me any post back as to what you think about it. Video response me. Let me know what you think. And again, blessings from the Cottage of Grace, and happy Saturday. And I hope you enjoy the psalm. Bye.